I have the ability to control the level of contentment that I'm in or that I have. And a lot of us, I think we're kind of like waiting on God to make us content
Ooh, or our spouse.
or our spouse. Like,
Or our situation
okay,
to make us content. If
go
things are
ahead.
like this,
Uh-huh.
if they would just become like this, then I'll be okay.
I'll be okay.
That'll be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it's not God who controls our level of contentment, but
Mhm.
it's us who controls our intensity of how much we want to pursue being content with wherever it is that we are. And we're waiting for contentment to happen rather than pursuing it.
Ooh.
With me having to relearn, reprocess, rethink what sex was, that was like taking a part of my identity away.
Just because you may need to seek help or you may be in transition and things may not be right, it doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage is bad.
Marriage is a roller coaster ride that never ends.
From the twists of having children, to the turns of overly involved parents, or the highs of buying a new home, to the lows of unexpected lifestyle changes.
Marriage is dope, but let's be honest, fam. Marriage really be tiring.
Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast, hosted by Jazz and Spoon.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's the Left Hand Gang. Why you
What up,
giggling
gang?
at me, man?
Sorry.
You're not. you're not at all. Oh my God, man! I hope you guys are doing well, doing all right out there. Of course, as we always say, we just love and appreciate you guys who've been tapping in, showing love, supporting, all of that good stuff, making us feel like the stuff that we're saying actually kind of sort of makes sense. So we can definitely appreciate that. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing well. I'm coming off of a eventful week, I guess.
Yeah.
I
Week
think that's the
slash
best.
weekend.
Yeah, that's the best way to surprise me. And I'm feeling okay.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired. Your boy is tired. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do we want to press into that and unpack it, or do we want to leave that?
I don't know. I think I'm just tired because, well, today I did get up earlier today than I normally would. So I did change my sleeping schedule. Well, I ain't gonna say I changed it.
You
I'm
got
getting
back.
I'm getting back to it. Getting back to it, which requires me getting up earlier in the morning. And I'm feeling it. It is. It really is. It is.
We welcome you.
Yeah. So I think that's what really has me is trying to reorient myself with the sleeping and stuff. And like nobody tells you that whenever you wake up earlier, it's imperative that you take a nap. Like you gotta take a nap.
I mean,
You got to. You definitely have. If you getting up earlier, 5-6 o'clock in the morning, you gotta catch you a nap later in the day.
it depends on your schedule, because think about it. When I was teaching and I was waking up at 5 to work out and stuff, I didn't have time to take a nap when I got home. I can't take a nap during the day, so you learn to thug it out. But what you are gonna have to do is you are gonna have to take your butt to bed earlier.
Well, yeah.
So you may be going to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock by default because your body's shutting down because you didn't get that nap.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't want one, but you definitely don't always have the option to get one. So you'll have to go to bed earlier.
Well, my point is just because you don't have the option, it doesn't negate the fact that you need it.
Oh, you do? Yeah, you do need it. You need it, but
you need that nap.
you may not be able to get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I forgot about that part. I didn't schedule that. Oops, hit the mic. I didn't schedule that in. So, yeah, I'm just trying to, I got to get my bearings.
Yeah.
That's it.
It takes a little while. What does it say? Is it 21 days? If you do something for 21 days, it'll become
a habit.
Yeah. Just hang in there.
Yeah,
20 more.
Hang 20 more.
What's that song? I I'm not gonna try because I'm gonna butcher all the lyrics.
I don't remember.
As we've already discussed, I don't know the lyrics.
I don't know what song you talking about, so I can't.
Back 20 mo, I hit.
Oh, we're gonna leave Black Boy JB alone.
Were those the right lyrics?
No.
Oh, but you knew what I was.
Yeah. You was going shoot. That's that song.
Yeah.
Not Whitney Houston, y'all. Black Boy. So, anyways, we've been building a lot with the last few episodes. Well, really this season, to say the least. We've really been building, and we've been focusing on Christ being formed in us. And I really want to dig into that thing that you and Dre talked about today. I think that is very, very fitting. So shout out to our sister Dre, Browse by Dre, for that word that she gave her sister today.
Yes.
Since we're shouting people out, Icy brand promo code is down in the description, which is Icy Gang, 10% off. Light with purpose. Get your candle. Think they're promoting Do Not Disturb really, really heavy today, or heavy in this season. So make sure y'all go get that one. That is Light Gang for 15% off. So today we're going to get into being content and contentment. Because that is a huge part of Christ being formed in us. You know, we've gone into forgiveness and grace. What was the last one we talked about?
Child, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I don't know.
That's okay. But y'all know for a fact we did forgiveness and grace. We did that for sure.
I really don't.
Ain't that big of a deal. So, but contentment and what it really, really means, and how it's crazy we can grow out of it, and not even realize it's time to be like, all right, contentment, I'm on to the next phase of whatever it is. So when you hear contentment, what does that mean for you, baby?
I think about peace where I am, and not necessarily always finding a bunch of joy and excitement in something, but having peace to sit there and seeing the beauty in it, even if it doesn't look pleasing.
Yeah.
I think that's what really comes to mind, because contentment for me usually is, I've always looked at it from a things are hard sense, not like when things are going really well, because when things are going really well, we don't say, when someone asks you how are you, you don't say I'm content. It's usually I'm content when things are not going as well.
That's so real.
So I look at it more from that angle than the
real.
mountaintop.
Yeah, that is so real. And you know, we reach those seasons where we got to be like content with our spouses, and it's not so much that I'm like, bruh, how long is it gonna take you to come out of this? But while they're going through whatever it is that they're going through, first and foremost, you're holding space for them. You have an environment for them to grow, to sit in whatever it is that they're going through. Because the truth of the matter is we can't expect for our spouses to pull us out of everything. Like there are some things that I just cannot pull you out of.
Yeah.
But what I can do is create space for you to be in it and to sit in it and at least make you comfortable while you're going through whatever growth that you're going through. And so I have to be content with where you are, but also be content within myself and what I've created for you in that instance. So I tend to think of contentment from what's the word? Like sufficient. Some snuck up there and got me. What that was. But I think of contentment from being able to be sufficient, being self-sufficient. You know, we with that scripture in Philippians 4:11, you know, Paul talks about I've learned to be content. I can be rich, I can be poor, I could be this, I could be that, but I can do all things through Christ who gives me uh, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, or what have you. So I have the ability to control the level of contentment that I'm in or that I have. And a lot of us, I think we're kind of like waiting on God to make us content,
Ooh, or our spouse,
or our spouse. Like,
or our situation
okay,
to make us content.
go
If things
ahead.
are like this,
Uh-huh.
if they would just become like this, then I'll be okay.
I'll be okay.
That'll be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it's not God who controls our level of contentment, but it's us who controls our intensity of how much we want to pursue being content with wherever it is that we are. And we're waiting for contentment to happen rather than pursuing it.
Ooh, yeah. So you just stepping on our toes
I'm
today.
sorry. That's just what hit me.
And I wore my slides. I didn't put
I
on
wore
my
I wore mine too.
what
Toes
they call
out.
them, the steel toes.
Steel toe
I didn't
boots.
bring those.
Steel toe
today.
boots. You didn't bring them?
No, I didn't.
It's
bring
okay.
those.
It's okay. But really though, contentment, we have control over it.
You're so right.
And instead of waiting for contentment to happen, we can happen to contentment. We can move forward towards it. We can make something happen, and we can control our moods,
Mm-hmm.
our mindsets, our perceptions, our perspectives
Mm-mm.
with whatever level of contentment that we're in. And that's why I think, when Paul says that I can be content, and regardless of the situation is, he's saying I have control over me despite what's happening around me.
Yeah, that's
And
powerful.
I have control over how I respond to what's happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Isaac, shout out my boy Isaac, he says this all the time. Life is 90%, no, 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you respond. So we have the power to really control our level of contentment and our intensity of it.
I just want to make sure everybody is okay, because the way you blowing people wigs back and the way you stepping on our toes and you bucking at everybody, I don't know. I don't know
Wigs.
if
I ain't bucking at nobody.
I don't know if they okay, if they still on the road, if they driving, if they done had to
I'm sorry.
pull over or something.
I didn't think I was really doing it.
I didn't know when we said that was the topic today. I didn't know you was coming out the gate like this today.
I didn't know either. This is fresh.
You didn't even prep the kid on what we were really going into. I didn't know.
Maybe it's the fast.
Maybe. Today day one.
I know.
Dang, it ain't even been 24 hours.
Not even. I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
I've been spending time with him.
Clearly. You know what? I'm just gonna scoot over and I'm gonna work the cameras today and let you have
They're
it.
already working. They're fine.
I'm gonna slide out because I think
fine.
I need to be a listener today.
Mm-mm.
Wow. I don't know what to follow up with that. But what stood out to me when you were talking is how contentment is an intentional, it's not would you say response, place, thing? Is it a noun? Is it an adverb? It's not an adverb. Is it an adjective? I don't know.
I think that depends.
Okay.
Maybe we've been putting contentment in a noun place.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. So
I ain't trying to go extra deep.
yeah,
but
you done already took us. Can we not go under the ground, please?
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. So I think that it's definitely something that you have to be intentional about. And it's sounding as if it comes from a heart posture and it's a decision that you make in the situation of whatever it is, whether it's with your spouse or or whatever it relates to. I think it takes a lot of maturity because you have to decide it's almost like when we say I'm going to make the most out of the situation.
Right.
It's essentially that mindset. But you're doing that even though you don't like where you are. And I think that you have to really, really sit with yourself, because you have to understand that it's not even about you.
Not at all.
When you make that decision to be content. And the things that are attached to you, when you make that decision. And I would even say that I have found personally that when I made my mind up and I literally walked in that place of contentment, that things did feel better.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't resolved, if you will. They weren't perfect. They weren't what I wanted them to be, but it was easier to walk. I was at peace, and I was also able to learn the lessons that I needed to learn in that in times with you where I've had to be that way. It taught me patience, and God was able to speak to me about things. So those are the things that really are coming up for me. I'm literally mind blown, baby, because child, I didn't know that when we talked about it, I felt like we turned this way when we were talking about it, and then we got behind these mics, and then you went this way, and so now I'm like, oh, wait for me, with the finger up, and I'm tiptoeing. When you run on your tiptoes like real fast, I'm trying to catch up because I didn't know.
No, it's okay. I didn't know either. But really, you provoked it. You really did provoke
What by
it.
that question or the statement that I made before?
Yeah,
Oh.
that, and whenever you were asking me about, like, when we were talking about it, and I was like, well, it sounds like settling. So I think you really provoked it when we got there.
Don't you try to flip this on me.
I'm just saying. and so do you remember that question?
Not in a pretty way, but essentially it wasn't really a question. I think it was a statement.
Okay.
But I guess I'm gonna try to turn it into a question. How do you know when you are settling in your faith or your walk with God? That was a rough
it was
draft.
Real rough.
It was a rough
but
draft.
we gonna smooth.
Come save
out.
me, baby. Come on.
Gonna smooth that
you're a
thing
wordsmith.
out.
Come on.
I might be, but essentially the statement was, it was that. But there's a difference between us settling and us being content. With contentment, it's a seasonal thing. You already have the mindset that it's going to be over.
Mm-hmm.
Settling, you're like, well,
this where we at. And you just drop your bags off and you stay there.
And you hang out there and you have no push or intentions of getting out. And it's more so like you creating opportunities for you to get out of what you're in. Like with contentment, you're like, I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also working or thinking towards something that's going to get me out of what I'm in, or what have you. But when you settle, you're like, this is where I'm gonna hang my hat.
Yeah.
And I'm good here.
It's like a fixed mindset.
It's exactly. And many of us, we allowed, Holy Ghost, thank you. We started off content and we let it morph into settling.
Are we still talking about our faith here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just try to make sure,
Yeah, we're still there.
Okay.
And so like using our marriage as an example, there were times where either maybe you would be upset or I would be upset and the other party would be content, but there would be a point in time where it's like, okay, we're at a crossroad. We can't stay here much longer. So either I got to say something or you have to say something to hold the other person accountable. Because the moment or the more we continue to not say anything, we enable the behavior to continue. And but we like, we pray like, oh, God, save my spouse, Lord, blah, blah, blah. And God is like, you do it. You do it. You speak life into them. You hold them accountable. Like when y'all got married, you said for better or for worse, to death do us part, sickness and health, rich for poor. So that may be a for better or for worse moment. And you have to be able to speak up and be able to call your spouse out. Now, granted, there's a way to do it. There's just a way to hold your spouse accountable. I'm not going down that road right now, but there's a way to do it. There's a way to articulate and to communicate your discrepancies, what your concerns are, but nonetheless, you have the power in your voice and in your attitude and your spirit to be able to help navigate your spouse out of whatever it is that they're in. and not allowing y'all being content to rest in ultimately settling.
Did you get it?
I think maybe.
Your mic on fire, bro.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm
Might
sorry.
need to put that out.
What's going on with you?
Dog. I told you already. I made a left because I thought we were making a left.
Mhm.
And you went right. And you didn't tell me that we was turning right. And so I'm still trying to run over here to catch up with you.
Okay, well,
No.
What?
I'm still running.
You still-
I'm almost there.
what
But
what
I'm
did your
still
sister share with you today?
Does it matter? at this
Yes,
point?
because it was really good. It actually fits.
It was really good. It actually was right on time for me. And it's rough again.
Mhm.
But we were talking about different seasons, and she was talking about her devotional, and it was talking about how there's a season, there's a time to grow, and there's a time to harvest. And you have to know what season you're in life. And she also related it to a couple, like 2 months ago or so, she bought a rosemary plant.
Mm.
And she was like, I thought I did all the readings on it, and she was like, I watered it when I was supposed to, I did all the stuff that I was supposed to do. And she said that the leaves started withering, and it started changing and stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's dying. And why is it dying? I did everything I was supposed to do. And when she went and did some more research, she learned that, like all plants, they had a dormant season, and
Mhm.
it was entering that because of the time of the year. And it was actually time for her to harvest.
Mm.
And I think she said she missed it. And so she didn't get any of the rosemary.
Oh wow.
And it clicked for her. She was so busy thinking about the growth season, and she's tending to it, and she's doing all the steps, but in the wrong season.
Mm.
And
Mm.
paying
Mm.
attention to the growth in the wrong season caused her to miss the harvest, which means she lost the whole plant. You lost everything. So if you don't if you don't harvest when you're supposed to, you lose not just the harvest, but you lose the plant.
Mm.
And that had me hollering while I was driving down 20. I mean, yelling. Isn't that so profound?
Man, now your mic on fire.
That was all shout out to sis.
But seriously, we do so much work and we miss the harvest
Mm-hmm.
because we think that we're supposed to work
Mm-hmm.
instead of harvesting.
And harvest doesn't always look the way that we think,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm thinking about where we are in our conversation we had last night. And harvest might mean, like, say for your business, say you're an entrepreneur. Harvest may not look like what you think. Bet I'm finna get all the clients for my
Mhm.
business. Harvest might mean, okay, now it's time for you to go take the skills that you learned for that and
Yeah.
apply them somewhere else.
Mhm.
So you're not getting the clients for the business. Maybe it's time for you to go get a job and work somewhere else. Or
Mhm.
maybe it's time for you to switch career paths, and you're thinking, there ain't no harvest.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I missed it.
Yep.
But harvest may not look exactly the way that we think it should.
Mm-mm. And one of the Dave Ramsey said this: we're responsible for the work, and God is responsible for the result.
Ugh. And I feel like I'm supposed to get the result that I expect that I'm supposed to get.
Mhm.
So I be telling myself, God is in charge of the result,
Mhm.
but the result should be what I had in my mind.
Mhm.
How many of us are victim of that?
All of us. How narcissistic of us
Oh my gosh.
to think that we supposed to get the results
So I'm just not gonna have no feet today.
that we had.
No toes. Just
Right.
take the whole foot.
Yeah, we're
both
gonna
of 'em.
amputate everything.
Just because
amputate
you're just
it all.
stomping all over it.
That's how I feel. And many of y'all know the seasons this whole year, all 4 seasons on the cool that we've been in, with us both losing our jobs in January. And, the Lord has been providing
Mm-hmm.
through so many people who poured into us. I mean, so many different ways. And
Ooh.
the season is not over, by the way. We still, to this day,
Mhm.
the Lord is sending ravens to provide for us.
For all of it.
Man, literally. Got one the other day. Um, and we reached a point where, again, we have to be content. And so we've been pursuing contentment. And it's crazy that when we finally got it and it clicked,
Mm-hmm.
now it's harvest. And I'm like, now, God, what?
I was so content I was numb.
Right. So just lethargic. Just, all right, dang, they calling too? Oh, wait, the car messing up now? Oh, God, here we
okay.
go.
Well,
all right, well,
add
this is
that
where
to
we
the
are.
list.
Add that too. Such and such calling. They'll get it when I get it. So when it clicked and we began to pursue contentment, and I would even say we began to settle in it, it switched. And we were, I guess you would say, free to move on the next thing, to take the next step. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't plan on harvesting an opportunity.
Right.
The harvest I wanted was some zeros in the bank account.
Right. Immediately.
That's the harvest.
Miraculously.
Like I just thought, a mailman was gonna drop something off on us because he was,
Yeah.
he was feeling generous. I thought we was gonna get something like that. But that's not the harvest that God had in mind. So just a word of encouragement, and even perspective shift. Again, God is responsible for the harvest. He's responsible for the result. And the result, ironically, whether you believe it or not, is going to really be exactly what you need. Not what you thought you deserved. What he gives us, his result in it, his result is what matters the most and what's going to take us ultimately to the next step. And what really sucks, we don't know what the next step is.
Nope.
We don't even know how to use the harvest.
No.
Because we was planning for another harvest.
Right. I had a different harvest in mind.
The harvest that I was thinking, it don't fit.
It don't.
It fit in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But the harvest that I was thinking don't match the harvest that you gave me.
Right.
So now
those pieces don't fit.
So now we have to grieve the idea of the result that we thought we was gonna have, that we thought we was gonna get.
Cause you in my business today.
I'm speaking my life.
You all in my business. Dang.
I'm sorry. I feel the same thing that you feel. I live with
Preacher
you.
boy.
Preacher boy. Over your boy. But now we got that grieve. Now we gotta grieve. And grieving what we created, what we fell in love with, the idea of the result that we built. Oh, we gotta let it go. So we can be Christ-like.
I just need a few minutes. When we turn the cameras off, I just need a few minutes.
Okay. But since they on, what business am I in?
All of it. All of it. You just kicked down my door. I told my sister this today. We were talking, and when she talked to me about the harvest and all of that, and she shared some other things, and I said, can you get out my house? Because you're not only in my business, but you done kicked down my front door. You done threw all my stuff around in my house, and you all in it. And I didn't ask for that this morning. And that's how I feel right now. I just feel like y'all just keep coming up in here. And did nobody tell y'all to come up in here?
It's crazy. I'm sorry. Okay.
I'm feeling some type of way.
Okay. You coming back yet?
No.
Okay.
Because I really don't have the words. Because this is what it is. You know when you're at church or you're listening to a sermon and it hits you and you're thinking, how did God give the preacher the message that I needed today? And you think it's just for you, and it might be, but more than likely it's hitting multiple people. But it like literally registers with you, and then you still have to sit with it because you're like, man, that hit so many parts of my life right now.
Yeah.
But I still need to go and I need to go sit with that a little more and let that marinate. And so that's where I am.
Want me to make you mad?
You
Some
are.
more.
I mean, go ahead. We here.
We here.
Just kick the windows out too.
I bust the windows out your car. Um,
Say it like Kai.
like car.
Our baby is learning to talk, y'all.
Yeah,
It's the sweetest
is.
thing.
Ah,
Car.
mm,
Car.
I'm ready to go get him now. I'm finna go get
I
Bubba.
know. I can't wait to get some.
So
cuddles.
yeah, Kai cuddles. But you still using that example,
The harvest.
the harvest
Mhm.
and the sowing, and she sowed that seed, and it provided a harvest. What?
I was thinking. I was trying to think back to what she said, and I was going to be specific. I feel like she bought the plant or she's planted it. I don't remember if she bought it
Mm-hmm.
already planted. I think she said April or May or something like that. I really don't remember. But she mentioned a month and she was like, you back in April and May and we in September and it's harvest season. It's not
Mm-hmm.
planting season anymore. So I was just gonna be
Mm,
specific.
Well, either way, the seed was planted,
Right.
and regardless of who planted it, we were responsible for taking care of it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us, we get so lost in taking care of something and managing something, because it's like with any kind of in agriculture, once the seed produces the flower, then our job is to manage it. And we get so caught up in the managing and the managing and the managing and the managing that that's all we know how to do.
Mm.
All we know how to do is manage. If I can just manage where we are
Yeah.
in our life, in our marriage, in our situation, if I could just manage it, and which really means if I can just
Control.
control
Yep. I was just about to say that.
as much as I can control the sunlight. I can control the weeds and stuff around it. I can pull them out. I can kill them. If I can put this scarecrow up to keep these birds and these animals away from it, if I can control
Mm-hmm.
the exterior factors around it, it is going to guarantee that this thing is going to produce something.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize that we've just made ourselves God of that thing. And we've idolized ourselves, idolized what we feel, what we believe, for this thing, whatever it is to be. And since I'm God, quote unquote, it's going to produce what I want it to produce
Mm-hmm.
whenever I feel like it's time for it to produce.
Yeah, because we pushed God out of the way.
Because we got it.
And then when the season changes or a fork in the road is thrown or something, we fall all over ourselves and our whole plan is jacked up because that's not what we projected.
Nope.
And it's not going the way that I want it to. And because I've been controlling the situation, I've lost all control and now I'm scrambling. I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And God probably just shaking his head, looking at us like sheep.
Sheep.
Just sheep.
Sheep.
That's why he called us sheep, because
Yeah.
he's a little slow.
Mm-hmm. And we need him.
And we need him.
We need a shepherd
Yeah.
by the name of Jesus. We need a shepherd. So instead of trying to control the production or something being produced, being content with where it is. When we're content, we're still feeding, we're still nurturing with the mindset that we're not in total control of the result.
Mhm.
Because whether we know it or believe it or not, the result is coming. And how we take care of it is going to help us better manage the harvest when it's time. And so we're learning in how we live in our contentment. We're learning that once it's time to harvest and reap the fruits of our labor, reap the benefits, reap what we have sown, we've learned in our contentment how to be managers of the harvest. So if I've been content with you, with whatever season of life that you've been in, and I've held space, and you finally end up coming out of that, I'm a better husband. So not only did you grow, but I grew.
Yeah.
Not only did you become better, but I became better.
Mhm.
Not only did you learn a certain level of contentment, but I learned. And so we learn together. We learn with one another. And it's interesting because when you're harvested, I'm harvested.
Mm. That's true. Was it a mic drop moment?
I mean, I was looking at your face and you just so fine.
Thanks.
Mm,
I don't look weird. I don't have my glasses.
absolutely not.
Y'all got contacts today, and I feel off.
You feel off.
Yeah, like I'm missing something.
What you missing?
My glasses. But yeah, you're right. I didn't think about the beauty that happens when, or for both parties, when in a marriage, for example, like you said, when someone comes out of that season, you both grow,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it also helps that person to come out of that season when you don't create an idea of what it should look like,
Mm-hmm.
whether you verbalize it or even just to yourself, because then you miss the signs,
Yeah.
of maybe you have a spouse that's grieving, or a spouse that's grieving a literal person, or they could be grieving the loss of, they're letting go of habits, or you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, or crisis being formed in them in a
Yeah.
certain area. uh Holding space for them to be able to walk through that is, it is important that you find contentment there, so that you're not projecting what you want them to
Mm-hmm.
be on them, rushing them out of the season,
Yeah.
or making it just uncomfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the tables will turn.
Definitely.
You're gonna need that. You're gonna need them to be patient with you and content in one of your seasons too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very cyclical because there could be a season where you're dealing with, um, you could be dealing with body image and I'm dealing with confidence, and so we got to be able to hold space for one another
Mm-hmm.
in that same season because it's cyclical. You water me, I water you. You shine light on me, I shine light on you. Um, you remove weeds, voices, what have you from around me, I do the same for you.
Mm-hmm.
And like we talked about last episode, there that percentage thing, it's gonna be a little
Yeah.
different. It's gonna be a little different.
It ain't always bitty
It ain't always 70-30, but that cool 15.
Yeah, that's so real.
and your cool 20 with 65 unaccounted for. We gotta show grace
Yeah.
and be content in that space with one another.
Yeah. I think that the topic of contentment, I think the way that you covered it today was very beautiful. And I think that when we look at it as a place that we have to be intentional about, and in our contentment, we are not looking so far ahead where we're just like, okay, get me out of the season, and or we are our hope is fixed on our idea of the resolution, what the resolution looks like.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Letting go of that really helps us to kind of fit in there. I'm doing like a little wiggle. You know,
No
when you,
wiggle.
what's the word I'm looking for, when you like get into a space and
You nestle in.
yes,
Settle in.
yeah, settle, nestle in into a space. It helps you to do that and find your groove and just just ride the wave.
Mhm.
Just ride the wave. So yeah, baby, I think you did a really great job today. The way you broke that down. Again, you did not slide me the notes that you
Mhm.
apparently had on this topic, but it's fine. You know,
Okay.
I'll just make sure that if you decide the topic next week, that I
Mhm.
book a session
Oh,
with you
session.
prior to, so I can wear the right shoes.
You are childish.
So that thankfully I ain't got no unit,
Mhm.
but just so I can be a little more prepared.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared either. I
The
didn't.
devil's a liar.
I
but-
didn't know. I didn't know. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Any other final thoughts?
No,
there on
I mean,
contentment?
I think that was it. I really do. Um, y'all just be in prayer for your boy and your sis as we navigate
Our harvest.
this raggedy harvest.
Not raggedy. Sorry, Lord. That is truly how it feels.
This harvest feel raggedy.
It
It does.
baby, that
'Cause
is
I don't
that is
know.
perfect. Raggedy
I'm
harvest.
grateful for a harvest. I'm glad something grew. I am. But now I need the Lord to show me what I do with this.
What do I do with
What
this?
I do with this. Because I don't know what I'm
God,
supposed
you
to
know
do with
this is not what I was saying
I wasn't thinking this.
during the season. That when I was growing and stuff and planting, that's not what I was talking about. And this is what you gave me. So
I'm grateful.
you're gonna have to show me how to use this.
But it is what I do with this. Because this harvest,
ooh, baby.
this harvest messing with my pride. It is. My flesh is like, oh hell no.
You out of pocket.
That's my flesh. That's what my flesh is thinking.
Ah.
That's what it's not thinking. That's what it's saying. I ain't gonna say it's thinking that. It's saying that because I don't know what to do with this. I don't, and I need God to show me.
You know, isn't there a meme or something? What do with this?
I don't know.
When they make that face like,
What is this?
fam, what?
Hey, bruh. So, yes,
Better is coming, I know.
it is. I just didn't know.
God is faithful.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
I didn't see it coming either.
So yeah, y'all be in prayer for us. Y'all be in prayer for my flesh.
Nah, for real though.
My ratchet flesh voice. As we navigate these new waters. Cause this new. But one thing, and I'll end with this. When Jazz and we were praying last night, was what I said during our prayer is, whatever the next step is, I pray that it's not about getting us out of debt, about financial prosperity, but it is about you being glorified. So God, however you see fit to be glorified through this, allow Jasmine to pick the right direction that doesn't just feed us, but you be glorified. That other people benefit in some way. Other people see you in some other way through this.
Mine is along those lines, but it's God, if you're not there.
Oh yeah, that one too.
If because I mean, essentially to your point, if it is just getting me out of debt, or if it's just getting me these accolades, but you're not there, there's no glory. That means there's no peace, and there's no true provision. That's not a good place to be.
Not at all.
There is a fall waiting with that, and you're not there. So it's hard to pray that. It really is hard to pray that. I'm not even front. But that's truly what I mean.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't want the latter.
So yeah, y'all keep us in prayer because I got some decisions to make. Jasmine got some decisions, but we want them to be godly decisions and not anything else. We want them to be godly decisions. Oh man. So, you good?
We're gonna patch up everybody's doors and windows and stuff. Bust it out today.
Tell you this.
It wasn't you.
God is responsible for the results. And I'm gonna drop the mic right there.
We love y'all.
We do.
Appreciate y'all for rocking with us, for listening to us, supporting us. Go get y'all's candles. And truth be told, Christmas is not that far away. You just really want to be real.
You can go ahead and get started.
You can go ahead and get started. Get you some candles. Get some candles for you. Because I don't know about everybody else, but I personally don't like the fall scent. don't like pumpkin spice. I don't like all the spices. I don't like none of that.
That's just not your
the
jam.
autumn leaves, and I don't like it. So if you're like your girl, you can go over to Light with Purpose and get you some candles that are great all year long. Don't just scream fall. For your mama, for you, your cousin, everybody. You can get you some merch from Odyssey Brands. Oh my goodness. Again, we love y'all. Until next time.
All right, y'all. Peace. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang podcast.
Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and rate us.
And lastly, please don't forget to check out our website. That's lefthandgang.co for merch and ways to stay connected.
Catch you next episode.
Gang.